No, 24 frames a second? What? Seriously? Hello, my name's Stewart Wood and welcome to this video. Now, I was just in the middle of editing my latest macro adventure when Canon have officially announced the 90D. Now, we've had a lot of leaks and a lot of leaked specs about this camera in the last few weeks, but I don't really like to speculate on rumours. But now we have the official release of the 90D and the official specs. I'm going to take a look at them now to see if it's a worthy upgrade to my aging 650D. Okay, so I'm going to put in there, and yes, I would put sad emojis on this camera, but unfortunately, according to the license of that stock footage I use, I have to pay for a new license for every single video, so that's why they've not turned up again on my lens. It was going to be a running joke, but unfortunately, at I think $20 per video, that ain't going to happen. Right, let's get down to the specs. So for anyone who's coming here who is not a subscriber to the channel, we deal with macro photography. So I'm going to talk about the 90D from a macro photographer's point of view. Okay, so if you're a portrait shooter, you might not want to watch this video. Okay, so anyway, we are talking about replacing my 650D. Okay, so that is a 7-year-old camera. So any camera I pick up is going to be great. But I want to tailor it a little bit towards the macro photography. So on this particular camera, let's talk about the sensor size. We have a 32.5 megapixel sensor, which is a big jump up from my 18 that is on the 650D. And when it comes to macro, cropping is very important because we want to be able to crop down to a point where we're not seeing the grain or the imperfections of the image. So you don't want to crop in too much. But at the same time, the more megapixels you got, the more crop you can get away with. So that is great. We have 10 frames a second. That's double of what this bad boy here is doing. So that's going to be great for focus stacking. ITR focus tracking for fast moving subjects. Well, we'll have to test that out in the field if we ever get our hands on one of these. 4K filmmaking with dual pixel autofocus. Now that's something that's been missing off these cameras. You could get 4K, but you didn't have the dual pixel autofocus. And as a single shooter, most of the time I'm on my own. The autofocus system on the 80D is absolutely fantastic. So being able to have that as an upgrade as well on this one, so we get 2 video shooters instead of just the one, that's going to be a good upgrade. Intelligent optical viewfinder. That really worked on insects, I'll be honest with you. Maximum of 25,000 ISO. I don't think you're ever going to use 25,000 ISO because, well, we already know the 80D is great up to around 3,200. This one I wouldn't go above 800 because it creates noise and grain. And that is subjective because some people like it, some people don't like it. I tend to not like it. So let's have a look at the specs of the current camera I'm using for macro photography. And when I say that, I mean the macro photography on the YouTube channel, because whenever I'm not filming myself, I'm always using the 80D for macro. So I already know that this camera is going to be great for macro photography because it's an upgrade to the 80D. I've got 18 megapixels. Oh, God. Great in low light. Oh, come off it. And this leads me onto a subject when you look at these specs. Take it with a pinch of salt because there are hidden things in here that they don't tell you. Camera companies lie, okay? The 650D is not great in low light, okay? High speed shooting, 5 frames a second. Well, you can see the specs there. Stunning 1080p movies. Yeah, if you don't need the autofocus, it's okay. Yeah, we've got 9 autofocus points. Well, basically, it's getting on. Anyway, let's get back over to the specs. Approximately 701 grams. It's a bit lighter than the 80D from the look of it. 10 frames a second, we've done that. So we've got 45 cross-type focus points, which is that the same as the 80D? Let me just go back. Because on here, there's a comparison between the 80D. So I'm going to compare it now to the 80D, which we already have. Yes, basically, it's better all round when it comes to macro photography. Again, we're up from 7 frames to 10 frames, but you can punch it to 11 frames a second if you use live view and fixed AF. Now, people moan about that because they want their autofocus, but us macro photographers don't use autofocus very often. So that's 11 frames we're going to get out of this new camera. Okay, the focus is the same. AF multi-button controller. We have a joystick with the 90D. I've never used a joystick, so I can't really comment on that. Eye detection during live view. That would be great if I'm filming myself with the 90D, but I don't know if I want to upgrade from the 80D yet. We'll have to see. Let's go on to the movies. 4K, full frame, at 24 frames a second? What? Seriously? My 80D does 24 frames a second, but the 90D doesn't do 24 frames a second. But joking aside, there's a lot of people moaning about this because there's a bit of an argument or discussion, I should say, about 24p versus 25p, which is best for cinematic and all that stuff. Now, I always film in 24p, so not having 24p on the 90D is a bit of a disappointment because it would be great to be able to upgrade the video camera to 4K at 24p. Unfortunately, it doesn't do it. However, can you really tell the difference between 24p and 25p? Can you tell the difference between 24 frames a second and 25 frames a second? I don't know, which is why right now I'm filming at 25 frames a second, and I'm going to keep the 25 frames a second setting on the 80D for the next couple of videos to see, can I really tell the difference? And if I can't, well, we can forget about the 24p. It won't really hurt because we're doing this for YouTube. I'm not a documentary filmmaker, so I can't see it really being an issue. And if I was a documentary filmmaker, I wouldn't be using a 90D or an 80D. So there you go. But what it does do, which is interesting, is 120 frames a second, which unfortunately we're not going to be able to use because to film at 25 frames a second, you have to set the camera at PAL. So unless you're willing to go into your menu and keep swapping it from PAL to NTSC, it'd be quite hard when you're in the field trying to film insects, swapping those over, which is why the custom functions are nice on top of your camera. So on the 80D, we have some custom functions on here where on mine, I've got it set to 24 frames a second and 60 frames a second, so I can quickly switch if I'm filming an insect. So we'll probably be using 100 frames on that if we did use it for video. We have movie digital image stabilization. Again, I've not used it, so I don't know if that's going to be any good. So on the plus side, we get a higher frame rate. So if you want to film a bee that's coming in and landing on a flower, it's going to be a great camera for that. On the downside, again, we've lost the 24p, but again, I'm going to do some experimentation to see if I really do notice the difference or if you notice the difference. Let me know in the comments below if you've noticed a difference in this video with being 25 frames a second rather than 24 frames a second. Electronic shutter supporting speeds of up to 1/1600th of a second. Silent one shot, that means you can't do the focusing, but I can't see us using that in macro, but you never know. You never know, we might be filming a bug that's on the sun or something. Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, remote shooting via app, yeah. Auto transfer to PC, Mac, Android, yeah, that's all of that. So yeah, look, it is a bit lighter than the 80D. And here's the plus side, okay? So it uses the same batteries I already have for the 80D, which is a plus point, because at the moment I'm carrying 9 batteries I'm carrying, because I have to have a set for the 80D and a set for the 650D. So having the same batteries is going to be, you know, a lot better and will cut down on the weight in the bag. It uses the same camera grip that I use for the 80D, so I don't have to change that, which is great. And the battery life is longer, okay? Now, I have been looking at the EOS R as a possible upgrade for the video camera. So that's the one that's filming now, not the still camera. Unfortunately, I've got to change lenses. I've got to have adapters for it. Yes, it uses the same battery, but at £2,500 plus a new lens, because I'm filming on the 24mm pancake lens, which is great for crop sensors. And you can use it on the EOS R, but then you create a crop. So if you're going to film on a crop, what's the point in having full frame anyway? So the 90D is looking like a nice upgrade for me and for the channel. So anyway, I tweeted out to Canon about the no 24 frames a second. And they've actually replied to me. They've said, "Hi Stewart, as well as other frame rates, 25 frames a second is available in 4K and full HD, but 24 frames isn't available at any resolution." So they've actually replied and they said they're going to pass on the feedback. I would like to know the reasoning as to why they removed 24 frames when the 80D has 24. It's like, you know, you're upgrading your camera, but you're losing a basic frame rate mode. And there's going to be a lot of discussion about this out there. People are going to be saying that they're crippling the camera. But like, again, I don't really know. I've only been doing videos since last January, so I'm not really an expert when it comes to that. Now, what I want to do is go to the full specifications. Let's go down to, we already talked about the image sensor. It's a great high resolution image sensor. So again, you're going to be able to crop in. We don't know what the ISO to noise performance is like. I'll wait for the bigger YouTubers to discuss that. I can use EFS and EF lenses, so I can use all my existing lenses, so that's great. And here's the reason why us macro shooters like APS-C, because we get that extra reach. So my 100mm macro lens is the equivalent to a 160mm macro lens, which is, again, one of those things that is great for macro photography. When it comes to the photography side of things, it's going to be a fantastic camera. And if you're just shooting macro, I would recommend this camera before I even use it, because I know how good it is, because it's an upgrade to the 80D. And the 80D, as I've said before, is fantastic at macro photography. But what I want to do is, again, I'm doing YouTube, so I need to look at the video specs of these. Still image size, movie type, here we go. So we've got MPEG for, 25 frames a second. Now here's what I'm saying about taking this with a pinch of salt, because there's no bitrate information on there. Now I'm going to assume that the bitrate is possibly higher than the 80D, okay, which is at 80. If it's higher, if it's equal or higher, I'll be quite happy. So let me just jump in here right now. I'm currently copying over the files to my editing machine that we've just recorded off the 80D, and Canon have replied to me. Okay, so let's just refresh this. And here we go. So their reply is, features can vary by product and the products will always balance the features for the target customer. We don't have information on the reason the available video frame rates were selected though, I'm afraid. So that tells me, now I can't turn around and talk to you because the 80D has been turned off now, but basically that seems to tell me that if you want that 24 frames a second, which is 23.9 something, you're probably going to have to go for their higher end cameras. Now again, I don't know if you can tell the difference, but in terms of the bitrate, they reply, 4K is approximately 120 megabits per second, which sounds pretty good. I think 100 megabits a second is the minimum bit rate needed for 4K. So we are above the minimum amount for that. Now, if I'm wrong, then please do correct me in the comments below. But now, back to the past Stewart to carry on moaning about this feature. External fat formatted cards have no file size limit. Thank God for that. About time you fixed that. My God. Getting all these little clips and putting them into Premiere when you first bring them in, that's such a pain in the ass. Just HDR that we'll be using that, to be honest with you. But no, I think overall it's a great camera. It comes with a Digit 8 processor. That's up from the, I think it's a Digit 5 that's in my 650D. So again, that's great. Okay, so in all features we have water and dust resistance. Take that with a pinch of salt, okay, because resistance could mean anything. They don't actually give you a level. But it does mean I don't have to be as careful than I have to with the 650D, because, I don't know, you get moisture on that thing and it's just going to pop, you know. So the storage, it's UHS 2 compatible. So it's an upgraded card that's a quicker, so you'll clear the buffer a lot quicker when you're doing focus stacking. And talking about focus stacking, this camera does support in-camera focus stacking. Whether it works, I don't know. So we'll have to wait and see about that, won't we? So I read somewhere that the 4K can be cropped or uncropped, which might be interesting, because if you can crop down on the 4K, that's even more reach when we're doing macro video, which could be an interesting feature. So for a still camera, for macro, we're talking macro, remember, I think it's going to be a great camera. For video, I still think it's going to be a great camera. We've still got to find out what the bit rates are, whether you can crop in or not on the 4K. A lot of people don't like the cropped 4K, but a crop on a crop in 4K for macro video would be fantastic. So the reason why I'm looking at both stills and video, because as you know, I want to upgrade my still camera, but there is a reason why I want the video. Now, when I'm doing my macro video, or indeed when I'm doing it on the table, at the moment, I have to do several runs of the same scene. So if we take a macro adventure, okay, so I go out there, I find a bug, okay, I set up the video camera. I then do my presentation, photograph the bug. If I'm lucky enough that it's still there, I photograph the bug, okay? Then once I've done that, I have to take down the 80D, grab it quickly in my hand, switch it over to 60 frames a second and film B-roll of this bug. Now I can guarantee you 95% of the time that bug is not there by the time I do that. However, if the 90D has good video features and has the custom functions up here, I can photograph the bug, quickly switch it to video and do the B-roll without even touching the 80D, which means I'm going to be able to bring you better content for this YouTube channel. And that's the same for when I'm doing studio work. I'll be able to set the 80D to video. At the moment I can do video on this, but the quality of it is it's questionable at best, and you only got 25 frames a second. Whereas with the 90D I can have a higher frame rate and going to get better footage, and overall the quality of the video will be better for you if you're following along. So that's why I'm looking at the 90D as a possible upgrade to my aging 650D. The question is, are we actually going to get it? And this is where it comes to the sensible part of the video. No, we're not going to get it right away, okay? I'm going to keep an eye out on the other big YouTubers. I'm looking forward to Jared Poland's real world review on the 90D. I want to see what they think of it before I upgrade it, because again, I'm still looking at the EOS R. It's a bit more expensive, but the quality of video is a lot better. So again, if you're a macro shooter, I'd pre-order it because that camera is going to be fantastic. But for me, because I'm also doing YouTube, I need to just sit back, take a back seat and just see exactly what this camera can do before I decide to pull the trigger on that camera. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed my thoughts on the 90D. Are you looking at getting the 90D? Let me know in the comments below. And indeed, if you've already got an EOS R, let me know in the comments below what it's like for macro photography. And if possible, send me some raw files of video and stills. It doesn't have to be macro, just stills. I just want to see what those images are like before I make my final decision on the next camera for me. So it's either the EOS R or the Canon 90D. The 90D seems like the sensible approach because I haven't got to change lenses. I want to thank you for getting to the end of this video. Again, let me know in the comments below what you think of the 90D specs. And also, if you've got an EOS R, let me know in the comments below. But for now, my name's Stewart Wood. I'm going to see you on the next video, which is hopefully going to be a macro adventure. But until then, I'll see you on that video.